Well, the Battle of Iowa is on as President Trump and Ron DeSantis both head to the Hawkeye State. The Florida governor will visit all 99 counties, but some question if the former president will do the same.
And while Mr. Trump has a hefty lead, could DeSantis' entry into the race officially be causing Trump to go farther right? Senior correspondent John Huddy has the very latest from our Florida studios. John.
More of that hip-hop song. Yeah, that was a pretty long clip. But as far as your question, it's a good question. Look, we know that the super PAC representing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis never backed down. Bob and Katrina is pouring a lot of money into Iowa. DeSantis, in fact, is scheduled to hold a campaign kickoff event tonight in Des Moines, and then former President Trump will head there tomorrow. In fact, Mr. Trump is scheduled to attend an event Thursday morning with the West Side Conservative Club in Urbandale. It's a suburb of Des Moines. This morning, though, he dropped a new video in which he discusses his plan to stop illegal immigration. Take a look.
As part of my plan to secure the border on day one of my new term in office, I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law, going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship. It's things like this that bring millions of people to our country, and they enter our country illegally. My policy will choke off a major incentive for continued illegal immigration, deter more migrants from coming, and encourage many of the aliens Joe Biden has unlawfully let into our country to go back to their home countries.
And former President Trump also said that Joe Biden has, in his words, launched an illegal foreign invasion of our country, with people coming from, according to former President Trump, psychiatric institutions, jails, and are, quote, some of the meanest people you will ever see. Now, Monday, former President Trump also took aim at Governor DeSantis and Disney, in fact, in a Truth social media post, saying that the market will ultimately do irreparable harm to Disney that has become a, quote, woke and disgusting shadow of its former self, and that DeSantis could have done something sooner about it. And that dispute, that fight, continues literally as we speak. Also today, allies of former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie have reportedly formed a super PAC called Tell It Like It Is to support him in the Republican primary as Christie prepares for a potential campaign kickoff in the next 2 weeks. We've been expecting this. We've been talking about this. And Christie, once an ally of Mr. Trump, who I covered when he was U.S. attorney and New Jersey governor, is now one of his, as the Washington Post describes him, most vociferous critics. Bob and Katrina.
John, thank you.
And here with more, Chief Communications Director at the America First Policy Institute, Marc Lotter, plus the founder of the 1776 Project PAC, Ryan Girdusky. Great to have you both with us here. Ryan, what do you make of the battle for Iowa? How do you anticipate that playing out?
You know, Iowa's a very critical state, obviously the first caucus state, but it is a caucus, so that makes it much different than a primary. A lot of it has to do with organization, on the ground activity. Governor DeSantis obviously has a lot of endorsements coming out of Iowa and a lot of momentum. He's going to be there for the very first time in a real way as a candidate, and we'll see how that goes. I think that he's got a real message to sell to people in Iowa who have a very similar view of the world and of government as people in Florida do that reelected him with an overwhelming majority, over close to a 20-point majority. So I think that we'll have to sit there and see where it goes and how. But I think that he has definitely given a message that resonates with people like that.
Mark, tell me how you think either of these gentlemen would do compared to each other in a general election, because the criticism you hear is Mr. Trump could not win the general election. What is your thought on that?
Well, I disagree with that wholeheartedly, because obviously he's already won a general election. And here's the big difference. Joe Biden now has a record to run on. He didn't last time. He does now. So I think the American people, including some of those in the suburbs who are sick of high gas prices, sick of illegal immigration, fentanyl coming into their communities, killing their family members, their friends, their neighbors. All of these things, crime, they all fall on Joe Biden's watch. And so I think Donald Trump has a very good contrast with, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago or 5 years ago than he did in 2020? And that makes a very powerful argument in Iowa and in the rest of the state, puts Donald Trump in the driver's seat, or anyone running on Trump policies really in the driver's seat in the general election matchup.
And Ryan, I want to take a look at this. With Trump and DeSantis both in Florida, who are those in the Sunshine State more likely to vote for? Here's the poll. Ron DeSantis has just a 2% lead over the former president.
0.2%.
I should say 0.2%. Sorry about that. But I mean, neck and neck there. Does that surprise you?
No, I mean, because he's a brand new candidate. Look, DeSantis had a lot of support going out of November when President Trump's, former President Trump's candidates lost in every single state that President Trump lost in 2020, except for the one lieutenant governor in Georgia. But Republicans left out of 2022 saying, wow, we really got this wrong, supporting Trump-backed candidates in places like Pennsylvania with Doug Mastriano, Terry Lake in Arizona, Herschel Walker in Georgia. They all lost, and they lost in a pretty clean sweep. And then as President Trump announced and has run $15 million of ads, people have come back to him. They've forgotten about the election loss. But so I anticipate numbers to sit there and change. This is very early, and a lot of Trump support is very soft. They were, once again, not supporting him just 6 months ago. And I think that when we come to the question of electability, there is no question Donald Trump is not electable in this country and it's why he lost in 2020. His candidates lost in 2018. His candidates lost in 2022. 2016 was a great election year, and I'm proud that I voted for Donald Trump. But it was a long time ago. We've had 3 election losses since then. I think that it's time that we fight for a candidate and support a candidate who can win.
Hey, Mark, I wanted to take a look at this. This could change a lot of things over the next year and a half. Here's what is a deep fake. America's 2024 election collides with an AI boom in a deleted video now. Ron DeSantis got a surprising endorsement from whom? Hillary Clinton. Saying, I actually like Ron DeSantis a lot. Now, Hillary Clinton reveals in a surprise online endorsement video, he's just the kind of guy this country needs, and I really mean that. So, Mark, you've been in the political game for quite a while. What effect could this happen? I'm thinking of October surprises. I'm thinking of things that could really sit in your head as people vote early. I mean, what are your thoughts about this?
This is very concerning, and it's not about Democrat or Republican
not
or my candidate versus someone else's candidate. This is going to be done by hostile foreign powers to try to influence the outcome of an election. And trust me, having been there for, now 3-4 presidential cycles, if I'm trying to have to defend something that didn't exist in late October, and it's going to take a day or two to get that explanation out for people to understand that that's not a real video, it's a deep fake, it's AI, that's a problem for candidates from all political stripes, and it's something we've got to get a handle on.
Yeah, including there could be real video here and there that they'll say that is an AI. So it's going to be interesting as this all evolves. Marc Lotter, Ryan Girdusky, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.